Ladies and gentlemen, listen, we are announcing things like never before because today we have a showstopper in the building. We have Stephanie McSwine, over 50 and fine, the muscle of the mind. I hope you are ready for this time. Listen, I feel like an MC. This is about to happen. Are you ready? First of all, your presence is so graceful. I remember when I saw you walk into the studio, but I just want to say welcome to the show. I got a chance to see a little bit about you, but I would like for you to introduce yourself. Who is Stephanie McSwine? First of all, thanks for having me. Honestly, I'm just the girl next door that decided to start living, breathing, embracing herself, and falling in love with herself. That's beautiful. And that's crucial for a black woman. Mm, that's powerful. Yes, to say the least, yes. Absolutely. Now, typically, I get that time, but you walk right into that. It's powerful for a black woman to fall in love with herself. Absolutely. So, taboo. Why is that taboo? It's kind. I can't really explain it, but coming from a generation where we didn't have the support, the love that your generation get. My generation, we didn't get that. We was always told, go to school, get your orders, but wasn't necessarily given the foundation on how to get that in support. And so we kind of fell through the cracks. Wow. Now, I read your bio. You have your daughter who now has a daughter, and you have your son. So as a son, you have two, yes. And so my thing is, how does that filter over into motherhood, to love yourself? How does that work? Well, my journey, it wasn't about me. It was about giving the love to my children and they receiving the love because, like I said, my generation, we weren't taught how to love. We weren't taught how to be mothers nor show love. So my goal and build relationships, with your children. So my goal was to make sure my children knew I loved them. Not with material things, but showing. And that's more than enough especially for a black family. We're known for material things because each generation is supposed to get better, but each generation, we focus on material things that generation didn't have. So next generation, we just going to buy our children with material things. But for me, I had that. My parents gave me things, but what then I lacked was the love and support. So for me, as a mother, I wanted to make sure that my children, of course, material things okay, but my main goal was to make sure they knew I loved them and they knew love was in that house amongst the siblings and the love that I showed them. And the love that you're showing the world because you're doing amazing things. I want to tap into just everything that you have going on right now. When you walk into the room, aside from the grace and the elegance that you bring into a space, what do you offer to the world? Oh, show the world to not apologize for loving yourself. It took me years to love myself because growing up, for black women, especially in the 60s, 70s, growing up as a 70s child, hair was an issue. I wasn't blessed with the long flowy hair, big nose. So over the course of years, I had to learn the color of my skin because I had one sister that was light. I had one sister that was chocolate, and I was in the middle with the caramel, but I didn't love myself, you know. So growing up, me showing the world is that it's okay to love yourself. It's okay to not apologize for loving yourself. But it took me years to get that. Now it doesn't happen overnight. It took me years. It was a quest. It was a journey to get where I am. I'm here, and I don't apologize.
So when did that happen? So there's a question, right? This is a question I ask everybody. When was the power shift in your life?
Unfortunately, it was in the midst of being married for. I was married for about 17 years, and I think around maybe late 40s, a shift was taking place that I didn't realize. I had homeschooled all my children. All my children. I was a stay-at-home mom. First of all, I was stay-at-home mom. So my whole life evolved around my husband at the time and my children, and making sure they get 100% of me. And honestly, my journey started just working out. My youngest, we were walking at Stone Park, and I had him run a stroller, and he asked me to run with the other runners in the park, and I started running, and I eventually fell in love with it. And not that I was a obese woman, I had a good health diet regimen as far as cooking and eating, but did not work out in any shape or fashion. But if I hadn't made that shift, I wouldn't look like this person because I'm short. I imagine myself being a little weeble wobble. You know, you're short, you look like a little E, for short. And I actually just started working out just briefly, and I fell in love because I think that time I was looking for something for myself, and that was the only time that I had the opportunity to be by myself because I'm at home with my children all day.
Got it.
And so working out was okay, even whether it's walking, running, that was my time. And that's what my shift came. Actually working out. Where most people work out because they want to look a certain way. That was a peaceful place for me to go and just be in a silent mode. So that's when my journey started, working out.
Now I gotta ask you because a lot of black people don't work out. We work out, but we don't run, right? How do you build that endurance? How do you shift your mind to keep going? And then I heard that there is this thing that happens when you're running. There's like this adrenaline boost or something that shifts. Is that real?
It is different.
What is that? How?
I think for me, running gave me a sense of validation because each mile that I ran, it was accomplishment. When you're a stay-at-home mom, you don't get the accolades. The truth don't tell you, Mom, you did a good job today. Others don't tell you, oh, you get a bonus. So for me, every mile that I ran was a confidence, was a validation that I had control of myself and I could do something other than just be a mother and wife.
Yeah.
Because I didn't work except for those two things in my life. So running validated me being on this earth. It gave me a sense of pride because, like I said, most women don't, but most black people don't run, and that's mostly for the other races. And each mile that I ran was an accomplishment. And I would run, I would focus on that tree, and I would get to that tree and just pat myself on the back. And I've read it stole my heart. So the goal was it's 5 miles around the mountain. It took me a year to be able to run completely around that mountain.
Pause. Stopped. Mentally, a year?
It took me a year.
That's 365 days.
It literally took me a year because, I never worked out. I was not athletic. I did nothing prior to that. So it was a journey to build my mindset to think that I can accomplish that goal. And it was 5 miles.
But you ran that entire time?
The whole time, yeah. It took me, it took me a year to successfully complete it without stopping. Now, I went around the mountain, but to completely run it nonstop, and I can vividly remember accomplishing that goal. And at that point, a light bulb went on that told me that I could do it, because I come from an era where I wasn't the smartest. I was sandwiched between two sisters who were very smart. I barely graduated from high school, So I've never had the confidence that for myself that knew I could do anything other than just be a wife and mother. That was actually at the time my biggest major accomplishment because I've never worked a job over 4 years. So my biggest accomplishment at that time was being a mother. So running and being able to uh, to accumulate those miles over years was a huge accomplishment. And that's where the companies start building. That's when I realized that I'm capable of doing anything.
We're going to talk about that because I got some stuff to ask you because 365 days is 4 seasons. But we're going to talk about that when we get back. More with Miss McSwine. This is about to be amazing because that mindset is what we're about to tap into. See you soon.
You need to hear this if you're a fan of diverse, impactful films. Gift TV is where global voices shine. Dive into a universe of diverse content on Gift TV. Whether you're in the mood for a heartfelt documentary, a thought-provoking podcast, or a captivating film, Gift TV has it all. We're dedicated to positive storytelling and social impact, bringing you unique perspectives from filmmakers around the globe. Watch the stories that matter, the ones that inspire change and celebrate diversity. From history to wellness and family entertainment, our content spans genres and cultures, offering something for everyone. Imagine discovering new favorites every day. That's the magic of Gift TV. Add Gift TV on Roku today and start exploring a world of inspiring, diverse, and impactful stories. Gift TV with a world view. Be inspired, be the change. Visit gift4film.org to learn more.
And we are back. We're getting into the juicy stuff right now because this is a total muscle of the mind, and we're gonna tap into the mindset about what we're trying to accomplish here. Because we're talking about changing an entire culture of people. You mentioned that it took you a year to run around Stone Mountain Park. Again, that's 4 seasons: rain, sleet, snow. Sometimes it snows in Atlanta, sometimes it doesn't. Wow, that goes. But you kept going.
Yes.
What do you do when it gets cold? What do you do when it rains?
That's the thing. That's why it took me so long because I was stopping it in the winter time. Because I'm still a dark person now. We don't like cold. We don't like, we don't like water. And so I had to stop. So then I would have to start back, build my endurance back in again, and try to accomplish that goal. And it took me that long because I was very consistent. I told myself that I was going to do it, and it's something that, because like I said, that was an award for me. That was a validation for me. That was, incentive for me to accomplish this goal. However, it took that long for me to accomplish it.
Wow. So did you work out in between those times?
I only started working out when I decided to do a marathon. But before, I was just strictly running. I was a part of the Black Girls Run era when it first came out. I was part of that group, and we just ran all over laps.
I just did a 3K, and I barely made it. It was just 3K. You said a marathon. What is the longest marathon?
It's 26.2 miles. Yes. And I did it in Atlanta, downtown. So we're talking about not only the length of the mile, we're talking about the hills.
Oh, my God.
Downtown. So when you mentioned about weights, that's when I decided to do the weights in my training. Because most runners, they just run. I wanted to build muscles. So to help me endure the impact that was going to take doing the race, plus downtown with it as hilly as it is. So that's when I incorporate in my training weights and lifting weights and strength training.
Now, I know we talked off camera, and you gave me the You had to have a surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what was the surgery, and what was it due to?
Okay, so I had a hip replacement. And honestly, as the doctor stated, it was still hereditary, but the fact that I was running as much as I was, it was hard running. Because back in the days when we did run, we did not stretch. And a lot of my friends who ran with me during those era, that time period, most of them have injuries. So I will say, when I'm telling people when they run, they always ask me what to do or what not to do. I always say, make sure you stretch. incorporate that into your training, and we did not do that. And you know what? I okay with that, because had I not stopped running, I wouldn't be sitting here today, because my journey shifted. Because before I was running, it was just all about me. So when I got injured and I had to start running, that's when muscle milk came about. That's when my brand came about. I posted one picture, and that's when people saw. They didn't know that I had all the muscles, because when you run, you're clothed, and it took down a different path, and the muscles kind of defined and made me who I am today.
Muscle mom, yes, because I've been waiting to get into that. I saw your pictures. I'm looking at you now. That is your break.
Yes.
What does it mean outside of the physical muscles?
And it's crazy you said that, because a lady had a magazine, and she reached out to me, because like I said, I posted one picture, and there was a buzz, because like I said, runners did not have muscles, and people didn't know I was very muscular underneath my running garment. And she reached out to me, and she wanted me to do for art for her magazine. And so I had got a photographer to take my pictures, and I, of course, do the right part of the article. And so the photographer asked me, okay, so what are you going to do after this? And I'm like, just going to do the magazine, be done with it. And she was like, well, you need to have a page where when you do the article, you could have a tag where people could come and continue to follow your journey. So you need a name. And I'm like, I had no clue. So this is when my oldest son come to play. I reached out to him, and I told him about, what was taking place, and the magazine article was my first magazine article. And I told him I need a name, because I was going to start this page. And he started shooting out silly stuff. And all of a sudden he said, Muscle Mom. And I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. And he broke it down to me, and it just registered. He was like, Mom, you're who you are, because first of all, you're a mom, and that has defined you. That has made you the person you are. And you have buses on top of that. But you being a mother is your biggest, you glorify it. Most women told me, I glorify motherhood. I love being a mother. I love homeschooling my children. I love being at home, raising my children.
Wow, you don't hear that often.
You don't. And that's what made it make sense that my name would be Muscle Mom.
That's amazing. So the impact that you have on other women, could you share with us one of the experiences that you've gone through so far?
I've had a lot of people in the course of time reach out to me and said that I have inspired them. Because first of all, I was married for 17 years, was not working, and I decided to leave that marriage. Most women, wouldn't have the courage to leave, especially if your spouse is taking care of everything. And for me to decide to leave that and start from scratch, raising two teenagers, and to start all over in my late 50s. No, early 50s, start complete over.
Wow.
That's unheard of.
That is unheard of.
And it was the best decision I made.
Really?
Yes.
You said courage. You said there was a shift at that moment with your son. You said you glorify motherhood, and you've also told me it happened in your 50s.
Yes. My life started, I started living in my 50s. What? Prior to 50, I started evolving. And mostly time, most people say that your best years are in your teens, your 30s. My best years are now.
Really?
Yes.
So this is for people who feel like, because let's be honest, we live in a society that tosses away people in the age. So we have plastic surgery, we have Botox, all of these things, they get a little crazy, even talking about baby's blood and all of these little things to stay young, to look young. And here I am looking at you. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Have you had any work?
No, I'm stress-free. I don't let nobody stress me out. And my take is, If my 3 children don't stress me out, nobody get it. Okay. Nobody's mama's sons work. Nobody. Nobody needs to be nobody.
And I feel like you said stress free. We talked about just the muscle of the mind, and the way that your mindset has to be consistently. What has been your consistent mindset?
Peace. Oh, okay. Peace. At this age, it's non-negotiable. You know, I just finished in January. No, in July, I finished grad school. So we graduated in a couple of weeks. But peace. You can't. Peace is priceless. And I just would not allow anyone, and that's family, friends, siblings, parents, nobody. And I know that's harsh to say, but I just would not allow anybody to destroy my peace or not bring, or I won't allow you to sit at my dinner table, put it that way. I have this saying, like, like my porch, you could be in my yard, you could curse me, but when you step on my porch, that's a whole different ballpark. So I don't allow anybody to sit at my table who cause me stress. Even I live by that.
Well, peace is a gift. I believe that peace is a gift from God, or your spiritual aspect of your life. Your setback. Was the hip replacement a setback for you?
Honestly, it wasn't. I think God knew what she was doing because, like I mentioned, I was just starting grad school. And I think he knew as hard and challenging that was, because I was very scared. I hadn't been in school 30 years. So it was very challenging, and I was very scared leading up to grad school and my hip replacement. I think I cried all April.
Really?
I mean, literally, I would call my children and they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm just crying because I was so emotional because, like I said, I'm not the studious person. Although I pushed my children, I mean, because I knew what I did get the push. I knew what I wasn't doing in my younger years. So I pushed it and instilled in them potential, good grades. So I was very fearful of that. So me going into having my hip replacement, I had to be still. I couldn't walk. So in that, it helped me get my mind right for grad school. It was very challenging, to say the least. But I couldn't for 2 or 3 months. I had to be still. But like prior to that, I was all over Atlanta. With events and stuff, not partying, but just out networking. So it slowed me down where I had to be still, and it helped me transition into this next journey in my life of, going to school at 56.
Absolutely. Now, I know you say you don't party, but you look like you're going to a party right now.
Well,
Listen, I was looking at your outfit right now when you walked in. I was like, okay.
Well, another aspect of my journey, I am a thrifter, and I have, at one point I had a boutique store. I kind of put everything on hold the last year because I was in grad school, and I used to train, but I style a couple of people every now and then, little styles.
That's some conversation. Yes, it's the piece for me. I don't even know if they can see the movie. We got to get out there. I should get in there with the bull body. Yeah. Yes. So the thrifting. So everything you have on right now is
I'm known for that.
really
Everything I wear. From
everything.
everywhere. Yes.
What is that secret?
What is a blessing? It's no secret. It's a talent that I have. And it's crazy because, we'll talk about my son later, but my major in school, undergraduate, was fashion merchandise. However, it's crazy. I didn't use it because I didn't work. I was a homemaker. And it's kind of sprinkled onto my son. But then, like now, years later, I have my own boutique store and I style on women. So, life is full circle.
Life is full circle. You mentioned your son. And what influences has your life had on him? Because I know we talked before about what he has going on.
I think,
Wait a minute. Pause. Listen to her tell you. Come in. Join the team.
What's up? What's up?
Fashion, and he's looking fashionable as well. How are you?
Good. Are you?
I'm excellent. What's your name?
Archie Clay the third.
You see how he says his whole name? Say it again. Do it again.
The third.
The third. If you don't put the third on it, don't say that to. You got to. So, how has your mom's life influenced the things that you do today?
I think it's just inspiration. I thought I've always my mom is someone that's very strong. I think she really can talk about the name we had before. It's called Mighty Boss.
What's it called?
Mighty Mess.
Mighty Mouse. That's not a brand name. Might as well not.
So that's the name of it. It's called Mighty Mouse.
So he's the one responsible for muscle. He has responsible.
but you know, it's crazy because I don't know if he realized, but when I was in undergraduate, I was a young mother. So I had to get pregnant real early, and I continued to go to school. So he went to in my womb, he went to some of my classes, my fashion classes, and when he became around 2 years, he would go to class with me. Really? And so I think, yeah, he used to go to class when he was about 1 and 2. And I guess that's kind of put that fashion buzz in him.
All right, so what's the fashion buzz? Give us some juice. What is going on?
So I started my career, my entrepreneurship career. I launched my first company called Whitburns. He was pretty well known. It's over $1 million in sales over 7 years of career. And we were highlighted by Oprah. I was in the markets, commercials. So I got my start in that realm. Just kind of stuff like loving hacks and being a part of that industry. I love the fashion and want to be a part of that industry and really want to create a legacy for my family of things built on my mom and my grandmother. Right. So from there, did some amazing things, and then launched our next company called Brain Love, which we just launched this past last year, around September. I just kind of been thriving from there.
It's the names for me. From Muscle Moms to Brain Love, we got to get into there. Look, and we're going to get into that when we come right back. Hold tight, because we're going to talk about that. See you guys in a second.
In a world where communication knows no boundaries, DP Global Media empowers your vision. We bring your stories to life, bridging cultures and connecting hearts. From corporate boardrooms to government chambers, our diverse team of experts crafts messages that resonate. With cutting-edge videography, we capture the essence of your brand. Our writing and editing services ensure your words leave a lasting impact. Virtual or in person, we deliver training that transforms. At DP Global Media, we don't just create content, we create connections.
Thanks to DP Global Media, our message reached audiences we never thought possible.
Your vision, our expertise, global impact. DP Global Media, empowering communication across borders.
We are back, and we're about to tap into Brain Love. Brain Love, where did the name come from? What does it mean? Because it is very catchy.
Yeah. No, it really kind of just what you hear is what it means. Love yourself, love your mind, love who you are, being intentional who you are, and really evolving from that. I think a lot of times people don't remember that your mental and your space around it is connected to your success. You know what I mean? And for us, we want to be in that space of being as aware as possible, and being protected of that as possible. And we want to be a brand, a luxury brand that pushes that energy through our pieces, through our clothing, how we tell stories, and how we connect with people.
So how big were your influences from your childhood? Because you said you had to learn to love yourself. You said you glorified motherhood. How did that impact you today?
Super confident, because my mom was always there for everything, from wash out to the weeks, date sometimes. Well, yes, never wasn't that my work. Yeah, never like struggled with my confidence or like my identity or who I was. I feel like it's always gotten good love, and then the environment that I was always in was always good. And I also know my mom's story, so I understand the background. I understand why she's always been the person that she's always been. You know what I mean? Whereas you learn more as you get older. You know what I mean? But I've always felt that energy. I've never had that never not wanted to be confident in myself or not wanting. I always kind of want to push that back energy toward other people.
And that, I think what's so powerful about that is that you didn't stop. You said you just started at 50. Living
I started to live because before it wasn't about me. It was about raising my children. I mean, as fathers, you have to be selfish, and that was something not everybody don't have to do it, but that's something I chose to do, is remove myself from the equation and focus on my children and making sure that my children had the foundation to thrive and be their best version of themselves, and me support them, because I realize how important it is for parents to support their children. And more importantly, not necessarily within the youth in younger days, it's more important to support them when they're older.
Ooh, nuggets. Why is that?
Because, I mean, as parents, we want to have a relationship with our children. And if you don't set that foundation when they're younger, you want to have it when they're older. Because this generation, the millennials, they don't care that you gave birth to them. You don't get a pass. You don't get a pass if you did not give them the love that they need. You don't get a pass to be in their lives when they're older. It's a privilege to be in their lives. So for me, the work was when they were younger, making sure I connected those dots and build. And it wasn't easy now. It wasn't easy building a relationship as he got older, because I knew what I would do with my parents, and I had to do something different because I knew I don't talk to family, and I knew I didn't want to be an older in my late 50s, 60s, 70s and don't have relationships with my children. And I realized that it's mostly the parents' responsibility to set that foundation to have a relationship with children. It's not vice versa. It's not that they need to call you. You have to call your parents, your children, and instill them in them, and then they will call you.
And then that. And now you have a relationship with their children, and you have a relationship with yourself.
Right. That's crucial.
And you have a drive. And you are now about to graduate again.
Yes. For the third time. Masters. Yes. And it's crazy because I was I'm a teacher, but I was a parent for years. And I was okay with that. I mean, I was living comfortably because I had a little side hustle. So I was content. But then the next generation came into the picture. A daughter, found out she's expected a child. And that's when I had to shift again. What do I want to do for this next generation? I want to be able to, although now I gave my children that mental support, I want to do more from mental, and they've financially helped my daughter with my granddaughter, and do other things. So she gave me the courage to go back to school.
Wow.
Because in order to go back to school to be a certified teacher, I had to go get my master's.
Nice.
So the reason why I went back to school and to take on this journey was because of my granddaughter.
Wow.
So you see, I do everything for my children. Pretty much, because to me, I want a legacy. I want a legacy with my children. I want to be able to leave something for them, not only financially, but mentally for them,
So so I'm just getting all the nuggets. I said before we started, guys, that this is going to be a show of wisdom. And so what you're seeing now is the fruit of her labor. I'm looking at you, self-love, courage, and I'm looking at your fruit, who's confident, thriving, tasty. And listen, what he said, tasty. But look,
And I have two children, my other two children, and they all my children. And one thing that I'm so proud of them, because I'm a single woman, and to successfully put three children in school. So I'm not from Tuskegee, and my daughter is a alumni also from Tuskegee. My son is the big boy. He gave me 2 years to Tuskegee, but he's a Georgia State Panther, and he'll be graduating in May. So 3 children
Listen, and we say not to see.
That's very rare
Yeah.
for a single woman to have all three of her children graduating from college.
Well, look, I know I'm gonna want to know more of your journey. I know our followers are gonna want to know more of your journey. Where can they find the both of you?
Okay, so I'm on IG's Muscle Mom Lifestyle. And Facebook I have a fan page. It's Muscle Mom. Yes, I have a fan page. I do. People follow me. I was in Jamaica, and somebody was like, "Aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes, that's me."
They didn't finish it.
Yes, that's me. Yeah. So we have to have a fan base. And Stephanie McSwine is my name, but Muscle Mom Lifestyle is my business page.
What?
Let's see. And you?
RG Credit Third on Instagram, all platforms, and then Brainlove_official on all platforms.
Listen, Stephanie McMahon is her name. McSwine is her name. Muscle Mom. What am I slipping out? I was trying to rhyme. I was trying to rhyme it out. Let me get it. This is what I meant to say. Stephanie McSwine is her name. Muscle Mom. Muscle Mom. Cut. Stephanie McSwine is her name. Muscle Mom is her game. I love it. This has been an amazing episode, and I love it. And I think it starts with loving yourself, because it bleeds over into how other people will love themselves and how they'll see themselves and how they will manifest greatness because of the greatness that you have. So everything that you are doing in your life will bleed somewhere. It will plant a seed somewhere. What is your harvest? It's been a pleasure. I love it here. I love this show. I love our people. I love your brand. I love your brand. And I'm definitely going to be purchasing. This has been Kristen, the Power Shift. Let's get it.